going to pass back over to Ryan, who's going to go through kind of how to list on Depop and how to work that into your flow as well.
All right, hi again. So want to reiterate here, the best performing Depop listings are simple and to the point. So what I've added here, I know that we have a group of very busy folks on the call. I understand that, especially as someone who has a 9 to 5 and also does reselling. It takes a lot of work. So you really would rather someone just tell you what's the most important information and what can I ignore if I don't have enough time. So let me show you my recommendation. So here, what's in red is what I consider the critical information, what you should definitely include. The yellow and the orange are nice to have. And fill out, and the orange there at the bottom is like, if you have it, fill it out. If you don't worry about it. I'll go in more detail in a few slides too. But here's a great example of a really good simple listing. They have a really good clear title. I would note on List Perfectly, I know many platforms have a title field. Depop doesn't, it's all lumped in one, but List Perfectly does that behind the scenes. It'll take your description and the title and lump it in one to be that Depop form. So no need to worry about that. You probably already have a listing. List Perfectly does that for you. So what I would note here is while there are style tags and hashtags and other fancy things, if you don't know what that is, or if those words are already included in your description, do not worry about it. If you don't do those things, it's not going to make or break your listing. Make it clear and to the point, and then let Depop do the targeting and find the right buyer and find the style and segment like that. So I would prioritize making really clear to the point listings. Here's just an example. If you weren't in our last one, this is something that I do when I'm not sure if I have a clear title and if the algorithm is going to understand what I put in. I mostly do this if the item I found is maybe a little bit hard to describe. So I would write a product description. I ask ChatGPT, create an image of what you think this item looks like. And it actually looks really close to the actual product. This was a halter vest, which is kind of a niche, difficult to explain product, but it actually did a good job. So for this example, that's just a good easy check if you're feeling a little bit confused. And next here are just some things that I actually change when I do cross list from other platforms and just adapting. I think here, if we're a group of resellers, I don't think anyone's going to be writing stunning, but this is something that we do see some sellers write stunning or gorgeous or anything like that because it is stunning and gorgeous. But that said, if that's the most important word, buyers are not searching that. So make sure you're really capitalizing on every word and making sure that it's the most important thing that you think buyers are going to be searching so that it's clear. So instead, we've been more descriptive here. We changed that to a striped maxi dress A-line. So that's the style, size 4 by Annie Couture. And then here's another example. We have vintage fry campus boots. So written out, that's a really good start there. What I would add instead of here's a random style number that I came up with is chestnut color, calf height, size 6. If you do have any sort of internal SKU, so something that helps you find the item, or a SKU specifically for that item, which I know on some platforms that's helpful to add, I would say add that towards the bottom because oftentimes on Depop, people are searching more for the style rather than the very specific like SKU. They're searching for more of like a fall, like a half calf boot or something like that, or brown leather boots is something that they would search. And then they could find this last item rather than a very specific style. And then lastly, there's lots of different tags and attributes that you can fill out. These starred ones are the most important ones. These will all show up if you're in the List Perfectly form. They'll look a little bit differently because the form that we have is converted on the List Perfectly platform. This is what it looks like on the Depop app. The most important ones I've starred. So the category, the brand. If you don't have a brand, put other. That's the official Depop like unbranded, you don't have the brand in the drop down, that's completely fine. Just add the brand in the description and it's still searchable. Condition, size, color, type if applicable, and that extra info, while maybe helpful if you do have any of that information or you want to include it, don't worry about it. It's not going to make or break you. If you're going for speed, you can ignore that. Take those starred ones and then go with that. I would say optional if you do have hashtags or any words that are in your description, you can add them as that. But if you are scared by the word hashtag, I actually don't use hashtags for a bunch of my listings. Don't worry about it. I'd rather you prioritize making sure that those keywords, if they're key search criteria, are in the description anyways.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ryan. Next, we're going to go over accelerants. I'll mention what that means in a minute, but essentially your marketing and advertising levers that we'll go through and ways that you can get your shop in front of more buyers and do a bit more lifting than the usual Depop sellers as well. Lovely stuff. Usual Depop seller is probably not the right word, but let's go on. Wonderful stuff. We've started with boosting. So I've seen a load of questions about boosting, and I'll do my best to kind of hit the questions that I saw in the chat as well, just while I go through. But essentially, boosted listings are 25% more likely to sell than non-boosted listings. And I think that answers a lot of the questions which came through in the chat in this session and in the last session as well. Boosted listings are 25% more likely to sell than non-boosted. For for context as well, our boosting structure is kind of similar to the way that eBay's ad structure works. Um, I don't have a massive amount of kind of experience with eBay's ad structure, but maybe you could add a little bit more context on that, Ryan.
Yeah. So this is very similar. Trish and I were talking about this, about how you're not paying per clicks. You're paying for, did the sale actually happen based on something that Depop did. So when you do boost, it creates two different listings. One that's in a identified boosted listing spot in the top of search, and also on different customers for you pages. So those are those curated pages. There's a few slots there that are reserved specifically for boosted listings that apply to that customer. So you could secure one of those spots as well. So what this means is unless the customer actually clicks one of those listings, one of the non-organic listings that Depop has made. So that means that your original listing is still there. It's just maybe lower in sort. Or maybe it just showed up organically on the page. It wasn't in a specific boosted spot. You do not pay the boosted fee. So we will not charge you that unless Depop did the work to actually make you that sale. So that's one of the things
And I
I
just
really
would like
love.
to say that
Yeah.
this is with everything that's going on with eBay right now, and I know you two aren't really in this world, so you probably don't know how ridiculous it is. But with everything that's going on with eBay right now, this is exactly what we as resellers hope that boosting would be. And the fact that they give you not only the 25% more likely and that it costs 8, it is a clear it is a clear and a fair trade. I either want to do this or I don't, right? And there's no in between. So, as a reseller and as a reselling educator, I am going to say that for Depop's part, they get an A plus on this from me. And you guys, most of you know how I feel about eBay at the moment. Just wanted to give you a little love. There you go.
Thank you so much for that, Trish. Yeah, while I can't comment on kind of eBay's specific strategy, what I will say is we it's a fair trade. Trish put it really perfectly. We will charge you if the item sells in the fairest way. If we have brought more eyes to your item, um, it's a promoted listing. This is exactly what it should be, as Star Bryson says in the chat. What I will say as well, I'm pulling out from the chat, is you can boost your items if you haven't done you can boost all of your items, right? You can have 3,000 items in your store. Excuse me. If you haven't done the steps before this, if you haven't hit the steps of what we've dimensioned kind of previously in these sessions, your listings very likely might not sell. But we will put it in front of 25%, it will be 25% more likely to sell. But if you haven't done the basics, like look at the keywords, like list with a great picture, buyers still might not want to buy the item. So I really want to make sure that boosting is not the race to the end. It's an accelerant. If you're already doing a great job, then boosting will definitely help you out. But make sure you're nailing these basics first. And I could come on here and say, everyone go boost right now. Let's do it. We need the fee, but I really don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we're nailing the basics so that boosting can take you to that next level if needed. I'll just go through kind of what else we've got on the slide, but essentially, um, boosting individual listings, you can pay to promote a specific item. As I say, you only pay that fee once the item sells. There's no upfront or anything like that. But essentially, that will make that one item, more visible in listings, like Ryan mentioned. You can boost your entire shop with our Boost Shop feature, aptly named, which gives you visibility for all your items that are in your shop, but also gives you access to a few more features like those sold item searches. Um, if a buyer purchases an item, currently the boosting fee is 8%, and that's based on the final sale price. So after everything, final sale price will take 8%. I think that's everything. I'm trying to pull out the bits that Ryan mentioned, but essentially we'd always kind of recommend boosting your entire shop because you do get that access to those extra features. But what I do want to let you know is please, please, please focus on the basics first. Focus on pricing right first. If you want to incorporate boosting into your boost shop feature, absolutely do it. But use boosting as an accelerant, not a race to the finish. I hope that makes sense. Ryan, do you have anything else you just want to drop in there on boosting before I jump one further? Sorry, I know you're the queen of boosting, so I just want to double check.
I do boost my whole shop, so I find it quite helpful, but I think that's good.
Amazing. Let's just tick on one. Oh, forgive me. Lovely stuff. So when you do boost an item, whether it's boost shop or whether it is an individual, you'll see just on the right here, you will get these stats. So you'll actually see how many clicks the item got, how many views the item got. You'll always see likes and offers, regardless whether they're boosted. But how many views and how many clicks. You can use this to go forward. If you're testing something out with a new picture layout or a new description, you can see, wow, well, the items that I list like this are actually getting a few more clicks. So you don't actually just have to use boosting to show it to more people, but show what is actually working as well. These visibility stats are kind of perfect for overall, but it also just shows um, the kind of if we take this item specifically, it shows that buyers are finding this item attractive. There's 39 likes, 284 clicks. Maybe what I would say is maybe that the clicks are a little bit low for the views, so we can maybe tweak that cover photo a little bit. Really learn from it. Think about what the data means. Um, a really great point here is that four people have it in the bag and only two people have kind of sent offers. So the pricing might not be right in this instance. Obviously, you can see this whether it's boosted or not, but maybe we need to look at whether that item's priced right or whether we've got our offer strategy right on there as well. There's all kind of things you can learn from boosting and just looking at those stats on listings as well. Forgive me. Wonderful stuff. And of course, as we kind of mentioned, through Boost Shop, so boosting your entire shop rather than just one item, you'll unlock sold item search as well, which you can see here kind of in all its glory and all the pages that it goes through. You get, like I say, you get access for this through the shop, but it shows you comps based on items that are selling most quickly. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful. So final things we've kind of got going on here. I'll make sure that video plays so you can see it. There we go. Um, yeah, so set up deals to incentivize your potential buyers further. We have a few ways you can set up deals. So on the screen here, we've got bundle deals and also coming soon. I think we kind of alluded to it last time as well. We've got shipping discounts. So you can provide certain shipping discounts to buyers who are ordering in bulk or maybe to incentivize kind of buying a few extra items from you. These are all things which you can do. Bundles you can set up before you list on Depop, before you list those items, so they kind of go ahead with a certain percentage discount or offering free shipping. And shipping discounts will give you more information on when it arrives, but I think it'll be a good extra strategy for you as well. Lovely stuff. Final thing I want to go on through accelerants, and one of the comments I kind of got is when we kind of debuted this last time is it's probably not as relevant for sellers. But what I want to make sure you guys know is that outfits, the feature we launched to create mood boards from items, that buyers will kind of put mood boards together and share them on social media, is actually as relevant to sellers as it is to buyers. And the question is why? Because if you don't interact with Depop as a buyer, you might not use this, but your buyers are definitely using this, and they're definitely going on your shop, and they're definitely clipping your items and making them into mood boards to shop later. It's an extra way to kind of, it's not just a like of an item, it's a keepsake, it's to share it, whether they're creating it, curating those mood boards to show other people, whether they're kind of looking at uploading them to Pinterest, or whether they're just putting them together because they know in a few weeks they've got that big event coming up and they really want to put this item together and buy a few items going forward. When we mentioned kind of modeled photos, we always recommend looking at always listing a flat lay photo or a photo which the background's not so crazy and the items kind of laid out. You can see here the items which are getting kind of clipped into those outfits are those flat lay items where you can see the item quite it's quite flat is I guess the best way to say it. For skirts, they're laid out kind of on the floor, shoes kind of shoes together, because your buyers will be picking these up and making them into mood boards as well. Lovely. Finally, or maybe not finally, maybe finally, we have the top seller program. We had so many questions about the top seller program in our last meeting that we wanted to make sure we added a few things in here. So, criteria for the top seller program. The best of the best on Depop, and I'll go through what a top seller is in a second. But to be a top seller, you need to earn a total of $1,000 per month in sales for 4 consecutive months, which means if you start now, we will give you a blue tick in February. You'd maintain an average rating of at least 4.5 stars on Depop. Like I say, we really do reserve these for the best of the best. We want to make sure you can be the best of the best, but we want to promote the right people who are not only selling a lot, but are treating our buyers how we want them to be treated and making sure our buyers come back. Speedy response times and shipping speeds. You'll have a countdown kind of on Depop for when you can list your item. We say within 5 days, I believe it is now. I'll double check that, but that's the countdown that the app and web will give you to ship your item. Please be obviously, I know you guys are experienced sellers. You know how much it means to buyers to receive their items in a timely manner. Please, please, please ship your items in a timely manner, and that'll help keep that review rating up as well. Finally, and I think it goes without saying, not just for top sellers, for any sellers on Depop, that you're in compliance with the code of conduct and terms of service. If you break any rules, we don't start limiting visibility, we don't start not sending people to your shop, but obviously it could affect your status as a top seller or becoming a top seller as well. So that's how to become one of our elite group of top sellers on Depop. Next up, we've got the perks of being a top seller, which I'm going to run through really quickly because we are running on time and I want to make sure we answer your questions. First up, you'll get a verification tick. You'll get the blue tick next to your profile picture and next to your name, so buyers know you are the best of the best on Depop. You'll also get faster payouts, faster than any other sellers that aren't top sellers. So you can reinvest that into more stock and keep your business going. You'll get access to an exclusive community forum, which myself and Ryan are there every single day. So if you think you've got questions for us now, once you are top sellers, we will be there to answer questions most of the time. I like to go home sometimes. We have fast track support for our top sellers as well. I saw someone earlier mentioning, is there a chat feature for sellers? We don't have a specific chat. You can chat to us, but you have a priority queue for our support team. Obviously, myself and Ryan, while we'll give you as much advice as we can, we're not the support team, but if you're a top seller, you have priority queue for getting help if anything goes wrong. Final few bits, any promo opportunities that we have going at Depop, whether it's media campaigns, PR, whether we're doing a press release, whether we're curating items for a Sabrina Carpenter concert, which we did a few weeks ago. We come to our top sellers first because we know you are the best of the best. Research and testing, we like to test a lot of new features. You'll have the opportunity to test new features and give us feedback and essentially influence what Depop will be going forward. We always ask the top sellers because you are our trusted lot. And finally, we do kind of in-person community events. We do online workshops like this. We do group feedback sessions. If you want to see any more of me and Ryan, make sure we're hitting this criteria, I guess is the best way to say that. But also overall the opportunity is massive and we really, really do care about all of our sellers, but our top sellers are the best of the best and we treat them that way. We've got even more planned for the top seller program in the coming year with events, everything going on. You'll see us a lot more. So February, I think we'll be able to see something coming from you guys. Um, Shop analytics. This is a kind of not linked to top seller program. Sorry if I put this in the wrong order. Another tool kind of for looking at your shops and kind of just to wrap things up is we do have a shop analytics available on our platform, whether that's in app and on web as well. So you'll be able to see kind of shop stats, your earning over time. You can compare how many listings you did this month compared to this month last year. We really do have a kind of a robust analytics page. It's not perfect, and we are definitely working on it. And if you've got any feedback on it, I'd welcome you to drop it afterwards. But in terms of managing your business, Depop's set up to do that. So you will be able to see how you did this month compared to last month, and so on. I'm going to drop a link in here in the chat as well. Just I might have replied to a comment there. Apologies. I've just dropped a link in the chat, which just gives you a walkthrough of how to download your sales as well. You are able to kind of export your sales download over a period of time. I know that'll definitely be relevant to you guys, so I have dropped it in there. Lovely stuff. Ryan, back over to you just for some closing.
Yeah, just wanted to put together some of our recs kind of high level into some key takeaways here. First, competitive pricing crucial. If you can price right from the start, then you don't have to worry as much about, fancy tooling or any of that. Adapt the fee structure, and then if you're not seeing it selling, then go into those marketing levers like offers, discounting, and kind of use that approach like that. Second, list consistently. So I know I've seen some questions and I've been chatting with some people about listing volume and things like that. Fresh listings are favored in search results. So do prioritize adding new items whenever possible. So that means every day is better than in bulk, like on one day batch schedule like that. Every day is better. For some thresholds, I would say this does depend on you, your inventory, and how much space you have in wherever you're storing things. Do you have a warehouse? Do you store everything, in a room in your house like I do? Do you live in a city? Do you not? That's completely dependent on that and how many items you have. So what I would say there for some benchmarking, and I want you to find the right one for you, is try to list every day. Most top sellers list 150 or more, just as a starting point. If you do want to hear from Jack and I every month and get our lovely newsletter, which we would love for you to, list 50 or more for 3 consecutive months, and then you will hear from us. Next, make sure that the items you're listing are seasonally relevant and in demand. So that means if you're listing through, it depends on your approach. If you're listing based on what you already have in your list perfectly catalog, and you're trying to pick, okay, which items that I already have listed, am I going to just click to enable Depop to have too? If you're doing that, what I would recommend is thinking about things that are seasonally relevant. I don't know if anyone else here is in Massachusetts, but it's really cold right now. So jackets are definitely selling a lot in the US. Jackets are trending, fall pieces like that. And making sure that they're in demand as well. If you're looking for what's in demand, Jack shared a bunch of really great resources for inspiration, which is like our explore page and looking through the merchandising playbook, things like that. And then if you're planning out your inventory to take some of what those things are that we've expressed, use our retail calendar. I actually really like to have that accessible at all times so I can kind of plan and source a few months in advance. You likely have something written out for yourself like that. But if you don't, or if you want another tool, feel free to use that. It's a great printable thing to put next to your desk. And lastly, keep your descriptions clear and concise. I would say for a lot of platforms, there may be super specific things that you need to do or adapt or write or things like that. For Depop, it's actually pretty simple, which is something that I really love as a seller. Make sure your pricing is right and make your descriptions really clear. And honestly, if the algorithm really does favor just those sorts of things if you list and use these key takeaways. It's you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do. I know people used to back in the day think that if you clicked like edit and then save, that used to be a thing. That's not a thing anymore. You don't need any bot. You don't need anything crazy. You just need to do what you do best, create good listings and have good stock, which I have no doubt that this group already does. It's just keeping up with the consistency, and the main thing is change, like potentially adapting these things like pricing or changing the words a little bit. Nothing super crazy to add us into your workflow.
Yeah.
Okay, Angela.
I have two questions. One of them is about how many people do you actually see bundle items? Because I see that there's the option when I'm setting up shipping, but when looking through the closet, I feel like it may be difficult for them to actually find multiple items in larger closets without any kind of filtering apparatus. Is that something that's like being worked on, or is
It's a great question. Ryan, you might be better for taking the first half of that question of like how often do you see kind of bundles being taken up as a seller?
Yeah, bundles are a really good, I would say, way to market your shop. I would say a lot of initial, at least for my shop, it does depend on what you sell and per category. So, say for example, if you sell um, like more luxury goods, then maybe less likely that people are going to bundle because they're already spending a lot more upfront. But that said, if you're selling more like mid-priced items, then it's a little bit easier to bundle in that way. I usually set up to offer a 10% discount, so it doesn't necessarily depend on the items that the customer is picking. It's always 10%, so that means like if somebody was to buy a more high-priced item and a pair of socks, for example, the percentage off that I'm taking scales to the full item. So that'd be
I
my
think
recommendation there.
I think she was asking because there's no search feature within the store, how often
Oh,
are things bundled?
gotcha.
and how can we best optimize our store to encourage bundling with what we currently have access to?
Gotcha. Yeah, I can definitely help with that. Good question. Sorry about that. Um, while we don't have necessarily a search, meaning you type in the words, there are filters. So you can filter for your size and you can filter for brands and things like that. So we have that as something that someone could find for them specifically. We also do tend to adapt pages to also look a little bit different for our buyers. So if you usually like cardigans and you're a size medium, then maybe this page would look a little different. There's also a carousel. By that, I mean like a bunch of different listings on the bottom of each listing that you would post that'll say also from this seller. So that'll inspire some more people to shop there. Um, so if you do and they're searching on your shop and they see like the bundle discount, so if you do offer a bundle discount, they'll see that kind of pop up. Usually what people do is they'll kind of search through and filter your shop to see if they find anything interesting. So the best thing there is if you do have a lot of different items, especially in varying sizes or different types of products, usually like smaller items are a really great bundle to add on, like jewelry or socks or smaller accessories, things like that to like a bigger purchase. Those are always really great.
Kathy.
Oh, it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
follow-up on the bundling. Is that bundle discount only available to set on the app? Because I've never seen it.
Yes, the way you can ship, you can set your policies and shop policies is on the app. I think in our last presentation, on one of the last few slides, we had that
Okay.
with more information, which I think there's a
We're
recording
going to
of
pull
that.
up the slides again at the end.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
thanks.
welcome. Sorry, Kathy. Sarah, go ahead. You got to unmute. Good girl. There you
Yeah.
go.
I know how to work
Okay,
computers
good.
sometimes. Hi, thank you guys so much for doing this. I have a couple of questions. Regarding Depop ads and boosted sellers. Now, do you guys ever include non-boosted sellers in your Depop ads?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Do you mean like external ads, like ads you'd see kind of on
Yeah,
websites
like
and
if like for example, on Etsy, I'm scrolling through, I see an Etsy ad, there are a couple of cute items that I can scroll through. They haven't paid to be promoted, but if I click that link, then Etsy automatically gets a portion of their sale. And I'm wondering if that's something that happens at Depop.
no, no. So, and weirdly enough, we're part of Etsy, and I'm not sure entirely how they work. But in Depop, we will only take a percentage based on if the buyer clicked through the app. Anything
Okay.
external, that's on us. Yeah, just internally within the app or on web or
Within
however.
the, okay, so within your platform. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
absolutely.
All
I
right.
actually have something really quick to add to that too. There are things like Google PLA ads, things like that. A lot of things that like we pay for. Um, I would say your items are probably getting pushed to those if you have good descriptions and good pictures, things like that, and are like the fashion bread and butter, like I was saying of Depop. Those are probably on your potential buyers' Facebooks and Instagrams. All of that already. So that's things that we're kind of like doing on the background. We have a whole paid team that works on that. And the things that you see curated, so like into different sales and things like that, those are all things that our merchandising team has done. So they'll go through and they pick the listings that they just think are good. You don't have to pay for those things.
All right, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure about that. I also had a question earlier about offer completion percentages, as in, I'm sure that you guys have the data to see like how many offers are sent out and how many of those offers are actually completed, like followed through, like the customer actually ends up purchasing them. So I just wanted to know if there was a hard number for like out of all the offers, how many actually end up being bought?
That is a good question. I actually don't know that number off the top of my head, but
I
we can
have a
definitely
rough
follow.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
go
have
ahead.
okay.
What's the rough one,
I
Jack?
literally had to go to my notebook where I had a rough one. So 10 to 15 for auto response is what I've got currently. Forgive me, Sarah, I don't have like the total
You're good.
of offers on to hand, but through the auto respond feature, the automation,
Mhm.
10 to 15%.
I think it's really low. And I think it's just a much different way than most of us think about offers, right?
Yeah.
Like most
Yes.
of us in eBay will get a substantial amount of our sales if we use offers and we're using them in the way that we do it. We're gonna get a substantial amount of our sales through offers. And I just think that Depop is a different creature and we got
Mhm.
to think of it more as engagement. It's more like I'm trying to think of it, Sarah, like somebody sent me a message and is like, hey, what's the arm circumference? You know, the dumb questions we get on eBay. I'm trying to think of it like that more than a real offer so you don't get
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
infuriated.
With the verbiage, offer makes it sound like they
Agreed.
have an intention to follow through.
Agreed.
And I think that's where some of the confusion is. If it's just like a like an inquiry
Yeah.
instead,
Yeah. It's a
or
better
like
word.
I got my eyes on this,
Yeah.
but, offer makes it sound like, okay, you want this. Do you actually want this? And I think that's where some of the friction is coming in
It
at.
looks like Ryan actually grabbed some of the actual statistics, which is it's around 50% for total sales for offers and for buying outright.
That is amazing. I'm shocked by that.
So yeah, I will see if we can grab any more and feed them back in a future session or something else. We'll find out what we can say. Not that I know what that is currently, but we'll figure out if we can give you any more info on that.
No, you're good. I just think that that would be a good way to set expectations, especially for people that are coming in from very different platforms.
100%. Thank you so much for that, Sarah.
Yeah, of course. I will just ask one more question. I promise.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Um, I wanted to know, I saw the Top Seller program. I love that. I love that that can really build a sense of community with the people that are most committed to the platform. I did have a couple of questions regarding like seller options for recourse as far as something that's not their fault, basically. Like here in the US, we have all kinds of issues with USPS. There's something every month. But I would like to know that if a seller is doing their best to send things out on time, is it going to be on them, and are they going to be penalized for things that are out of their control?
Yeah, that's a really excellent question. And I used to work in the community support department where I essentially answered questions like that all the time. And I'll give you kind of the brief overview because there is the top seller program, and while top sellers get a priority queue, they don't essentially get special treatment on whether an item was lost or anything like that, right? I will say we always well, for one, we don't use AI chatbots. If you ever have to contact support, you will always be speaking to a real person who has the ability to look through previous sales, through tracking numbers. They have the ability to actually look, if there's um, forgive me, if there's an image for the delivery, we can look at that, right? So, for one, there's real people behind it who are actually, in the best way, kind of looking at making sure no one's out of pocket, right? We can't promise that every single time an item goes missing, we know exactly who is to blame for that item going missing. However, if you ship with Depop shipping, you are protected up to $300. Um, you'll have a person who will look into the case for you, including the buyer, including the seller, including the shipping information, and they'll do the right thing based on, I guess, the integrity of the platform. I'm not going to sit here and make any kind of promises on any future cases you might open, but if you have shipped 200 items and two have gone missing, we understand that that happens. I don't use USPS because I'm in the UK, but I've heard things about USPS, and we understand that that can happen as well. And yeah, like Amanda said it quite well, like Depop does have your back on this front. That being said, if you if we see a few infringements on your account that all of your buyers have reported that you're shipping an incorrect item, or all of your buyers in the last 3 weeks have reported that none of their items arrived, we'll probably investigate a little bit further, maybe ask you for a few more details and things like that.
So
I
I
guess
just
to
have
answer your go on,
I'm sorry,
Trisha.
but I just have a quick question. So Ryan wrote in the chat that it was less than 5 days equals good, faster equals amazing. Is that drop off or is that,
Yes.
oh,
Scan.
you
Scan.
guys, freaking
Sorry.
5 days to drop it off at the post office. I mean, most of us are doing this within 24 hours who are here.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Most of
I
us have
see.
1 day shipping or less. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of us have same day shipping. So I would think my question to piggyback just a little bit on Sarah, like we have like storms, like a hurricane, or where I live, a blizzard that sometimes, but it's still 5 days. So I would still think that even with the 5 days, we're still going to be pretty good. And I would assume if we're outside of that, if it's a national disaster, you guys are going to have our back, or am I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say too, I saw some questions about delivery. The delivery time is not something that you need to worry about. We ship through usual ground, and we know that usual ground sometimes takes a day, sometimes takes 10, depends on where you are and where you're shipping to. That is not tracked or related to your performance. That is tracked and related to the performance of the carrier and something we look into for them, not you. What you have to worry about is just shipping it quickly, which, same or next day, that means that you'll get a gold shipping badge on your account. So that means that you're already doing that in top tier. So no need to worry about that.
Yeah,
Thank
Ryan, you
you.
put that excellently.
Crystal.
Try to be quick here, and it's sort of a two-pronged question. There are several people in this room that have substantial catalogs, tens of thousands of listings that are active on other marketplaces. What is your best recommendation for moving those to Depop as quickly as possible? Because for me to work it into my flow, to list the items I'm listing today on other marketplaces, plus all the ones that I have, it would take me years if I was just to do it day by day, a few at a time. Do you have a suggestion for that? What's the best solution? And secondly, I'm wondering about for people that are working at scale, uh, the auto accept feature, having to do that listing by listing, that's very cumbersome. It's not really realistic for a lot of people, but we'd love to use it. So I'm hoping that there are some solutions in the pipe to help people manage their stores at once in bulk, maybe to have the ability to do that. And then thirdly, I guess a lot of us have VAs. I'm one of them. The magic link to log in is the bane of my existence, even from my own office. So to have someone else helping me in my business, it's almost impossible. We've at the moment have been trying for 3 days to get her logged in. It's very frustrating. So anyway, those are the three things. I'll be quiet and let you talk.
All three great questions, and always appreciate hearing like all of those experiences and challenges, because this is exactly what we want to hear, since we're focusing on making it easier and as easy as possible for sellers. And correct me if I'm getting them wrong. I wrote some quick notes on what you were saying. First is tips for posting items over. I think from my end, from the Depop side, I can give feedback or give advice on which ones to select, which I would say pick the ones that are in season and kind of add Depop as, if you're listing new items every day, enable Depop as another platform to post to, as well as within your current inventory, if there's things that are in season or in demand. Specifically, like if they're in season, I would definitely add a few of those in each day. I think for Trish, I'll pass to you on things from like the list perfectly side that might speed up that process in enabling Depop.
Well, let me just ask you a question. If you have a catalog that has 10,000 items in it and you list 50 to 60 items a day, 7 days a week, would it be your recommendation that we drop the 10,000 in and then just start with the 60 a day?
That's
I
what
think
hope I could do.
What did you say?
That's what I'm hoping I could do.
Yeah, I
because
know. So I think there is a way to do this. But is that the most sensible way to do it? I guess I'm asking.
Yeah, I would say if you are going to do, I mean, it does depend on how many you have. Say you're listing to the amount that was it 10,000 that you said?
I have about 19,000
19,000. That's awesome.
right
First of
now.
all.
And I would love for Depop to have them. I'd love
Yeah.
for you guys to have those
Mhm.
listings. I
Yeah.
just can't, it's not really humanly possible to, well, it is, it would just take me years to do all those plus what I'm doing daily. I'd like for sure my newest listings to be coming on there daily in my normal flow. But the problem I'm trying to solve is everything I already have active and out there, but it's just not on Depop.
Gotcha.
So if we drop everything, I said 10 because that's how many I have, right? So that's just why I went to 10. So if we however many we have, even if it's 6, I mean Vicky's in here or she was in here, Vicky has 6,000 active listings. Like if you are a larger seller and you have a lot of items and you still list every single day a certain amount, is it worth us dropping them in? Is there any beneficial?
I think what's important here, if you want to move 19,000 listings, hi Crystal, by the way, sorry. If you want to move 19,000 listings over to Depop, absolutely, we will take them. Great, works for us. The most important part about this, whether you have 19,000 items in your shop, your shop as a whole won't get seen if you're not listing consistently. So if you wanted to move those listings over just to make that first step as easy as possible, absolutely fine. But make sure you've kind of got the plan, which it absolutely sounds like you do, to kind of continue listing consistently, because that's the key.
Valerie.
I just was wondering if you guys ever are going to add more than 8 photos to the listings. because I always have to go back in and like rearrange I have to cross post to my other platforms, and then I have to go back in to just do Depop on its own because I have to rearrange my photos and how I want things to show since it only has the 8 photos.
That's a great question. I do know we get that a lot. I will definitely continue to share that. Yeah, 20 and 24.
Look at all the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, they're like, come on, talk to Etsy. We know that you're the same company. Come on. Yeah, let me talk to them and see. It is good feedback and something to keep on our radar. We do usually try to keep it, the short and sweet. Initially, that choice is, since we are, since we've started, we were more of a casual seller marketplace, and then we've adapted as we've gone, and a lot of our sellers have grown with us in that way. So I would say that we're investing a lot in more of those kind of like tooling and things like that. But I think there are residual pieces from, our history like that. Sometimes I do find that if you have additional photos too, which if you think they're like really good photos and you can't pick, sometimes I'm like that. I like added in a little movie, especially if there's any sort of things I want to point out, like anything broken or anything like that. I'll say like refer to the video, and I'll add that as the video in the last one, or I'll make like a little collage. But I would say no need to like go crazy and out of your way, unless you feel like that's explicitly really important for that listing and you are having a hard time cutting that one down. But yeah, we'll definitely bring that feedback back.
Because shoes, you want to get certain angles and everything, and
Yeah.
clothing, it's a little easier to do. But awesome. Thank you so much. You guys have
Okay,
been
so
super helpful.
I have a couple questions before we move on. Is the video in the app only, and does everyone have access? Because some people are like, I don't have access to video. I can only do videos. And is video only in the app?
Yes, video is in the app.
And is it within the app? You have to do it within your app. You can't upload a video.
No, you can upload a video.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. The annoying part, I would say, is it is in Square, which I hate.
Okay. And how?
Because I always forget to press the square button when I'm recording something.
Yeah.
But what you can do is if you go on like iMovie or something like that, you can just squeeze the video and it makes it so that you get the full video.
And then my other question for the video is what's the length?
The length, Jack, do you remember off the top of your head?
I want to say 15 seconds.
Okay.
It's quite short.
But
Okay.
I can't, and that's mainly in place just to negate people putting all sorts of things on there. I think it's 15 seconds.